See what happens?
You got it on the foyer?
You see what happens to each other on the streets. When you're on the road, everybody try to sell on the cell phone. Oh no, here comes some people, Lord.
Thank you.
Your Bible says, and seeing the multitude, he went up on a mountain, and he was seated. His disciples came to him. And he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peaceful, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed would mean what? Before we try. Blessed would mean what?
Happy.
Happy. Happy are those. So right beside it, happy, that's what that would mean. Happy are those. Okay? And you just say this. 11, 1. Oh, I'm sorry, no. Yeah, 11, 3.
After you, they revile and persecute you, and say all kinds of evil against you, also for my sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so they persecuted the prophets who were before you. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its flavor, how shall it be seasoned? It is then good for nothing, but to be thrown out and trampled and dealt by men.
14. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do men light a lamp and put it under a mine says peck measure, but on the lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. Let your light shine before men in such a way that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven.
My favorite scripture. 17 to 19.
Do not think that I have come to destroy the law or the prophets. I didn't come to destroy them, but to fulfill them. Because I tell you of all you with certainty that until heaven and earth disappear, not one letter or one stroke or one letter will disappear from the law until everything has been accomplished. So whoever sets aside one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom from heaven. But whoever does them and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom from heaven.
22.
For I tell you, unless your righteousness surpasses that of the scribes and the Pharisees, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven.
Scribes are who? Scribes are what? What are scribes?
Those are your lawyers, your
They're
writers.
lawyers. Scribes are lawyers. Scribes are lawyers. Pharisees were who?
Your,
Like your religious leaders.
That's, you got it. Religious leaders. There's your Pharisees, religious leaders. They also did what? Rule or control the temple. So that's your Pharisees. Sadducees were what? What are your Sadducees? Money givers. They're the rich people. They're the ones that supply. So they're the ones that make sure the church is rolling. Because they keep it financially supported.
That's your Sanhedrin.
And your Sanhedrins are who? What are your Sanhedrins? Sanhedrins is something else. What are your Sanhedrins?
Maybe like to.
Sanhedrins were those that what? They were your judges. They were the ones that said, yes, kill him, crucify him. That's your Sanhedrin. Paul was a what?
Pharisee.
A Pharisee. So that meant he was a what?
Sanhedrin.
Sanhedrin. If he was a Sanhedrin, what would that also mean? What was the law required for a Sanhedrin?
Married.
Hello? But you don't hear that about Paul. You don't hear Paul ever being married. History doesn't give us that because there could have possibly been, Paul could have either had a divorce or Paul could have been a widow. But you don't hear it because Paul makes a statement in the Corinthian letter of 1 Corinthians, the 7th chapter. He says, I wish that you would remain as I am. And that was, Paul says, remain single. He says, why? Because that's how you better serve the Lord. You don't have to fall under someone else who tells you. Did you go to church yesterday? Where did you go today? Or did you go to Bible study for? You don't have anybody to stop you. Why are you out? It's what time? 1 o'clock and you out with doing what? Well, I'm trying to help this sister. I got your sister. You don't have that in your way. You stay out as long as you want and evangelize as much as you want. No one's there to interfere with your ability to deliver or to teach or to preach or to help someone else. So it's better for you to be single. But Paul says, I know that there are some who can't be single. So he doesn't have anything against marriage. Or he makes a statement also in 1 Corinthians, the 7th chapter. He says it's better to marry than to burn with passion. Better to marry with better to marry than to burn with passion. He says something that we don't dare want to talk about. He talks about sex. What he's talking about. He says, go find your wife. Go find your husband and stop that foolishness. That's what he says. But if you can contain it or control it, then remain single. Remain just where you are. You'll be a better servant for God if you remain single. You know, let's get back. Where we at? 21.
21.
They don't say,
Well, I was thinking about it. You want me to read 20 again? You want me to read 20? No, okay, 21. 21. You have heard that it was said to our ancestors, do not murder, and whoever murders will be subject to judgment.
I wanted to say this to them. You all have documentation, so you don't have to worry about it. If you don't understand it. She's giving you documentation. I already talked about this. So go on. 22.
22. But I tell you, everyone who is angry with his brother will be subject to judgment. And whoever says to his brother, fool, you will be subject to the Sanhedrin. But whoever says, you moron, will be subject to hellfire.
23 to 26.
Therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled to your brother. Then come and offer your gift. Settle matters quickly with your adversary, who is taking you to court. Do it while you are still with him or on the way, or he may hand you over to the judge, and the judge may hand you over to the officer, and you may be thrown into prison.
Watch this. 24 says what?
Leave your
Says
gift
leave your
there.
gifts, right? The latter part of 24 says what?
And be reconciled to your brother.
And then it says what?
Then come and offer your gift.
So then he say leave it. So if you leave it, then you've gone home somewhere because you're going to work out whatever problems you have with your brother or sister. Brother means it's generic. Brother or sister, so you can be okay. That's not what he says. He says you're going to leave your finances whatever you were going to give to the church, you're going to leave it. He says you leave it. Normally leaving it would be to put it in the basket, right? So you put it in the basket. He says, not that you reconcile, made things right with your brother. Then he says what? Then offer. Right? What are you talking about, then offer? Because I did. I left my offering. So then what are you talking about, then offer? You know what he's saying? He's saying, the finances you left aren't blessed. They're not blessed. But once you get that reconciliation takes its course, then he's saying God will bless it. Now it has a blessing behind it. But you've got to leave it first before you do anything. So where are we at? In the back? Or where are we at? Calvary? Calvary, come on, man. Oh.
You have heard that it was said of old, said to those of old, you shall not commit adultery. But I say to you that whoever looks at a woman to lust for her has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye has caused you to sin, pluck it out and cast it from you. For it is more profitable for you that one of your members perish than for your whole body to be cast into hell.
He said in 28, he said this is premeditated. Okay? This is premeditated. So we'll understand. 28 is premeditated. Because if that's the case, we all in trouble because we look at all of us that looked at somebody. Then we should all have that, no eyes. Or we should all be called adults. So this is premeditated. This is, I know what time you're coming out. And so what I'm doing is waiting for you to come out.
We're in 5 and 6.
And then I'm going to lust at you again. I'm going to lust after you again. That's where it's at. So then let's travel some more. 31. Whose term is it? Right in the back. Sure.
31.
Well, actually 30.
30.
And if thy right hand offend thee, cut it off, and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. It hath been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. But I say unto you, that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causes her to commit adultery, but whosoever shall marry her.
I like what you said. Read 32. I don't know how anybody else's Bible read different. Watch 32. I like how yours said. Go ahead.
King James.
This time it's on track.
But I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his
Hold on. Hold on. He's doing what he want to do. Let's go. I just think they can't see it. Go ahead. She's like, really? Go ahead. Say what?
But I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication.
Watch. What does yours say?
Except for sexual.
Yours says sexual immorality. Anybody else says different? Says what? Unchastity. What is he talking about? Yours says except for what? Fornication, right?
Fornication.
I stated that would mean the act of. That's the act. You caught her doing something with somebody else. You have a right to put her away. You don't have to be in the bedroom when it happened. She came up pregnant. And you can do it. That's one, right? That's one. She got or he's got a venereal disease, and you didn't have it. What I'm saying is a lot of times we think, I've heard this is why I'm stopping for a minute, well, you got to catch him in the act. You did. You got him in the act. The evidence is there. You don't need to be there to see it. The evidence is there. Another one is they probably just come clean. I'm sorry. It was just only one time last night. But all the other times, you hear me? But they come up with one time. This is what I'm talking about. Listen to what he's talking about. He makes it clear as a bell when you can get a divorce. And he makes it clear as a bell as we struggle. I don't understand everybody's teaching. All you gotta do is teach what Jesus said. You ain't got to let it. It's clear as a bell. It gives you all the answers you need. So then watch this. Let's read. Where we at?
Causes her to commit adultery, and whosoever shall marry her that is divorced, committed adultery.
Lord have mercy. Can't get it no clearer than that. So then 33 through 36.
Again, you have heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not swear falsely, but shall perform your oath to the Lord. But I say to you, do not swear at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, nor by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great King. Nor shall you swear by your head, because you cannot make one hair white or black. 37. But let your yes be yes, and your no, no. For whatever is more than these is from the evil one.
When a man swears, I swear I didn't do that. What is he doing?
He's lying. He's lying.
What is that?
He's lying.
He's lying. That's what he's saying. Because anything else comes from the evil one. He's lying. But baby, I swear I didn't go nowhere. I swear I didn't do it. He's lying through his teeth. Because his answer should be what? Yes, I know. What do you mean? Let me help you. Because of those of the old days, a handshake was valid. I will be there was valid. That was a man's bond. That was his word was all that he does have that you can't take from him. And so when he said yes, that meant yes. When he says no, that meant no. How many times have you gone given excuses? Well, I know I told you I was going to be here, but let me tell you what happened. How many times have you done that? Failing to understand that falls right up under the thought of cursing God out. That's what it falls up under. You just curse God. A lot of times I hear someone say, Brother Thompson, beautiful message. I said, well, I sure would like to see you next week. And then person, oh, I'll be there next week. And then they don't show up. Well, they figure, well, it's just one of those things. No, you didn't make that oath to me. You made it to God. And God is going to hold you accountable for making such an oath. You don't want to make an oath. You either say, yeah, my intentions are to be there. Or, I enjoy the message, but no, I won't be there. You come clean. You don't change, you don't come up with, but I'm going to make things sound good. I'm going to make them, I want to make them feel good. And, I didn't say yes, but I didn't say no either. God says you will not straddle the fence. Either you say yes, or you say no. One or the other. And by the way, just like yes sounds good, no sounds good as well. You don't hear me. It really does. Why? Because you told the truth. Because you told the truth. That's why it's good as well. Because you spoke the truth. Yes.
I thought you're supposed to say, Lord is will, if the Lord is willing.
You better know it. You better know it. Just what you said. If it's the
Because
Lord.
you can have every intention by saying yes, and you're gonna do it, but unforeseen circumstances.
You got it.
It happen.
You got it.
So how could it be an oath if every intention is to get there, but there's something that just totally keeps you from coming? It wasn't that you intentionally.
Because you didn't say, if it's the Lord's will.
So you would just be better off saying, Lord, Lord's will.
If it's the Lord. I says a lot of times that I have to pick on her. She'll say something and I'll say what? If it's God's will. I'll always polish it off and say, if it's God's will. Why? Because you don't know. You don't know if you're going to even be alive.
Amen.
So it's best to say, if it be God's will. Now, there's no line in this. But if you notice this ain't no if it's God's will. This is let your no's be no's and your yes be yes. This is where you're talking and you're saying something. Yes, I will do it, or no, I won't do it. I need you to come over and, I'm looking at Dwayne, so fix some plumbing. You say, yes, I will. I then do what? I'm then what? Expecting you to be here. You do a no-show. A lot of times we'll say, well, it's okay, it's no big thing. Yes, it is a big thing. Because your word means nothing. You just took the only thing that you do have that had power behind it, you just destroyed it. So you made your yes no's, and you made your no's yes, and don't even realize it. So I agree with you 100% sure. It is if it's God's will, but she's not implying it here. Jesus is dealing with the issue of how people talk. This is how people talk. And you got to understand this, was the church established? Wasn't no church yet. So keep that in mind. There was no church yet. Christ hadn't did what? He hadn't died yet. So the church don't exist yet. Hadn't died yet. Okay? So, but God, which is Christ, is giving them instructions on behavior, how to live. So then watch this. Whose turn is it? 8:38.
You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I tell you not to resist an evil person, but whoever slaps you on the right cheek, turn the other to him also. If anyone wants to sue you and take away your tunic, let him have your cloak also.
Listen to what, and that's where I stopped at. So you should have an answer. When I mentioned that, what is he talking about? Look at it again. Paul says what?
If anyone wants to sue you and
If
take...
anyone wants to sue you, so he's talking about a court issue, right? So if anybody wants to sue you, that's a court issue, right?
Right.
He says to let him have your what?
Tunic.
Your tunic. And then
Sure.
he says what?
Let him have your cloak also.
I says tunic, pull your paper. 3. Yeah, I got it. 3. Page 3. All right. Page 3. Says what, Shana? The shirt?
The shirt mentioned here was a type of tunic worn as an undergarment, and the coat was an outer garment that also served as a blanket at night. Most people of that day owned only one coat and probably only 1 or 2 shirts. It was the outer garment, the coat, that the Mosaic law required be returned to its owner before the sun sets. For that is his only covering. It is his cloak for his body.
So there wasn't no Rosses around. Wasn't no J.C. Penney's. Wasn't no Macy's. So then, what a person basically had on his back they had. But I don't understand it. And Jesus says what in verse 40? And Jesus says what in verse 40?
As for the one who wants to sue you and take away your shirt, let him have your coat as well.
So then, what are you saying, Jesus?
Go ahead.
Something's wrong with that picture. What are you saying? Well, that's all that you have. What are you saying? Well, that's all that you have. Jesus now gives them rules as we start to travel. He's going to give them rules opposite of our thinking. Now he's going to give them rules on behavior, on how you are supposed to respond. He says, here's someone that has sued you. What best way would be to work this thing out? How about outside the court? Hear me? How about outside the court? How about why don't we settle this thing before we go to court? So let me give you my shirt. Hear me? Let me give you my shirt. If that'll settle it. To us it means nothing. But if that's the only thing you have, it means a lot for you to give up your shirt. But Jesus says, don't just stop with the shirt. Also give them your outer garment. Give them your coat. I give them my coat. I'm giving my coat to what people am I doing or dealing with? Well, but what type?
The adversary?
These are, but these are a nation of people. Yes, these are a nation of people. These are your Israelites. These better known to be your who? Jews. Why is that so important? Why is that so important when we start talking about Jews? Can you read a verse? Can you read something? What did you read? Did I leave you a scripture? On that paper? See that scripture on that paper? Exodus. See that? Exodus is who would know that scripture?
Jews.
The Jews. So what would that mean if I gave you this to settle this quickly? What did you have to do?
Give it.
What?
If it will satisfy the obligation. give
I
it.
gave it. But what would that law do? If it's cold and I ain't got, what do you say? And return it. That's what the law would do. During the day, we're in a desert. During the day, it's warm. That be without a shirt and a tunic, or a tunic and a coat, I can wrestle with it. But what happens at night? It gets cold. That's my only garment. What do you have to do? According to the law. After all, we're in the court, right? You're suing me, right? So then you would need to know the law. And the law says if you got it, you got to give it back to him. What are you saying? He said, this is how you're going to work this out. He's took it. You took it from him. You embarrassed him. He has no top on. You've embarrassed him. Now, put it back on. Because he needs it. That doesn't make sense. Why would I take it in the first place? This is what Jesus is trying to convey. It is, you no longer have the behavior of the world. You have the behavior of those that are under the law. You have this behavior. And so I'm going to address your behavior. Because you got a behavior problem. And I'm going to tell you, after all, the Jews are considered, say it louder, God's people. So they're considered God's people. They are the ones that set the standard. They're the ones that set the example. Well, that example looks stupid. But that is the example Jesus is trying to convey to them. Set the example. Set a good example. He's not done. Who's reading some more? Watch this. He's not done. He says what? Where's the part you want? He says what?
And if anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with him too. Give to the one who asks you, and don't turn away from the one who wants to borrow from you.
So now he says something else. You can't turn to page 4. See the Roman law? Turn to page 4. Roman law.
Roman law gave a soldier the right to force a civilian to carry his pack for 1 million. A Roman mile, which is slightly shorter than our modern mile. The law, designed to relieve the soldier, not only caused great inconvenience to civilians, but was made even more despicable by the fact that the oppressed were made to carry the equipment and weapons of their oppressors. Outside of combat, the Roman soldier was probably never more hated than when he forced someone to carry his pack.
See that? Jesus deals with it. Jesus says, I want you to say something, and you need to understand something. What do I need to understand? Whoever compels you to go 1 mile, you take 2 miles. That doesn't make sense. Stop and think about it. That goes against the grains of nature. Nature says, if you want me to take your thing and walk a mile, what does nature say? Huh?
That's all I'm gonna do.
I'm sorry, what you say?
I'm just saying, that's it, that's all.
Right, but watch this. But what does nature say?
Take 2.
No, what does nature, your human nature say? Hello, that's what your nature says. Not am I only not gonna do 2. I ain't gonna do 1 either. That's your nature. Your nature says, no, I'm not doing none of it. So he's saying, but you need to understand, you're going to obey the soldiers, the Roman authorities. You're going to obey them. He says, and here's how you're going to obey them. They think they've made a mockery of you, right? By making you carry their bag. When you cross the mile, you keep going. They say, well, don't you want to take that off? Nah, I'll do one better and I'll carry it for you another mile. You see how that works? That makes you scratch your head. I don't understand. Jesus is trying to get them to understand. You fight hate with love. I told you it's a behavior issue. He's trying to get them to understand. They meant to do you harm. You changed it and showed them. It's all right. I'll go another mile. See how it does? That's, whoa. That doesn't, you got them scratching their head. I don't, this dude is crazy. You know what I'm saying? They don't understand it. And why? Because you're following, you're obeying your master. God is trying to get you to see how do you change the world.
You peculiar.
What'd you say?
Peculiar.
Okay, right, you're peculiar people.
Yeah.
So he's trying to get you to see what's going on. Watch this. We're party what? 2. 42.
Give to the one, Give to the one who asks you, and don't turn away from the one who wants to borrow from you. You have heard that it was said, love your neighbor.
42?
That was 42.
That's all we want. 42.
Oh, okay, sorry.
42. Pull your paper. You should be on 4. You should be reading when. You don't see it, Cynthia?
When someone asks.
When. When.
Someone asks.
When someone asks to borrow something from us, we should not turn away from him. In other words, we should give him what he wants. The implication is that the person who asks has genuine need. We are not required to respond to every foolish, selfish request made of us. Sometimes to give a person what he wants but does not need is a disservice. We need to
Ever dealt with homeless people or people on the streets we call derelicts? Ever dealt with them? And somebody walks up to you, and, can you give me, don't ask for a quarter no more, can you give me $1? Right? You know, I'm telling because I dealt with one day. Can you give me something? Listen and think about it. In giving them, am I doing them good or am I doing them bad? God gives us common sense. But if you don't watch it, you will use guilt to do something you shouldn't have done. First of all, giving them $1. What can they give with $1?
It's a disservice.
You got it. It's a disservice. What can you do with $1? So you give them $1. What did you do? That's a disservice. A man walks up to you and you can smell something on his breath. And you say, I feel sorry for him, so I'm going to give him $5. That's a disservice. You see what I'm saying? What are you saying? Recognize what you're doing. God wants you to recognize. He wants you to give to people. So don't remove that. But He also wants you to use proper judgment. Watch this. If you are worldly, you'll never understand what proper judgment is. But if you are godly, if you are studying your word, if you are leaning towards God, then you can walk away to that person and say, no, I'm not going to give you anything, and keep going. And not feel guilty. And not feel guilty. Now, you don't have to raise your hand, but you know you gave to somebody $1. You know you didn't give somebody a couple of bucks. You know you have done it.
Well, what if you've given hundreds and then you realize it's a disservice?
I made a statement, was it to you, about I was giving, the person was out in the streets, they were supposed to be homeless, and I felt sorry for them that day, so I went in my pocket and gave them $5 and figured everything is going to be all right. Well, anyway, we have a, what's the name of that store?
Salvation?
No, that's not it. It's a store. Anyway, it was a grocery store. I can't think of it now. But we have a grocery store. Y'all can't think of the grocery store?
Rap,
No, it's not right. That's
Superior.
yeah, but no, it's not a it's a store. But anyway, we were stopping by. I had picked the missus up. We stopped. So we came back. And I just happened to look over there. And that was the person I gave it to. Getting in a new vehicle.
Oh my God.
Getting in a new business?
Getting in a new vehicle. I couldn't believe my eyes. I said, I know, wait a minute, I know they don't know who I am. So I watched, I had to see this. And when I saw them sitting around talking, they were all, because there was more than one, sitting around talking. Okay, see you later. And sure enough, see what happens when you don't evaluate? See what happens when you call yourself trying to do good? So what really happened was I just got took. You saw this yesterday. Girl pulls into the gas station. You saw this yesterday. Girl pulls into the gas station, gets out of the car and says, can you give me some money so I can get some gas? Pulls into the gas station by the pump. And am I wrong? Pull by the pump. And walk, can you give me some money? I'm trying to get some gas. I looked at her like she's crazy. She went to the next person. Sure enough, somebody gave her the money. I said, did you know that's the new one that they do now? Well, it's not so new. It's been going on. But this is what they do now. They watch us, anything they need, they play off of it, or do they play off of it? I made a statement a while back concerning a derelict that I knew when I was working downtown. I made the statement, he came into the bank. People were ready to push the buttons because they figured, wait a minute, here's somebody finna rob the place. I don't know if I was lunch or break or what, but I just come from upstairs and I looked and I saw him because he always protected my car. And I said, John, what are you doing here? And he was just as loud as he could be and smelling. I said, what are you doing in here? He said, they won't let me put no money in my account. He was just, and I'm sorry, he was really loud. I said, whoa, John, stop all that. Come over here to my desk. Come over to my desk. Let's see what we got going on here. So you got an account with a, well, you know I got an account. I said, no, I don't, John. Calm down. What? Give me your name. I popped it into the system. A whole lot of names popped up. I says, that ain't gonna work. I said, take that off. Give me your 4 digits of your social. He gave it to me. I put that in the system. His name came up. I said, John, where's your mail go? Where does it go? He told it that was on the system. I told you. I said, John, there's $60,000 in this account. What is $60,000 doing in this account? He said, you work, right? I said, yeah. He said, well, I work. You didn't catch it.
Yeah, I got it.
I couldn't believe this.
He's a fan.
He said, you do a 9 to 5, I don't. I just go out and beg. Can you imagine? I couldn't believe it. So when I managed to get him out of the bank, because I had trouble, the Lysol wasn't working that day. That's how bad he smelled. Okay? But when I got him out, I called the staff. Said, I need to come see this. When they saw it on my system, they said, what? That was, I said, this is Aunt John. They said, I can't believe he has all this. I said, neither could I, but it gives us a lesson. You need to be careful who comes in. You don't discredit anybody. You take care of everybody like they're supposed to be taken care of. Did you know there's a law when it comes down to you want to do some lending from the bank? Did you know if a bum came in and sat at my desk, did you know I had to do that application? Or did you know that's called discrimination? Even though I know we ain't gonna get nowhere with it, I had to sit there and treat him like he's a customer, take all this information, and then send it out, and then finally tell him, I'm sorry, they will get in touch with you. You know, we can't say they declined you. You do know that you can't say that. We have to say the credit or the lending department will send you a letter. They'll send you a letter and let you know. Well, one more I get it, you should get it in a couple of days. Well, you know what it is. I said, I'm sorry, we're not at liberty to discuss this. You will be getting a letter. Even though we see on the screen, decline, get that idiot out of here, that crazy man, get him out. But I'm just saying, but we can't do that. You know what I'm saying? We can't do that. Yes.
Okay, but doesn't that fall along the lines as a Christian, you treat others as you want to be treated?
Hello?
And if you give, I give to people, anybody that asks. It's not for me to discern what they do.
That's right.
It's God that sees it. You know, I can't spend the time to wonder, if I'm being taken or whatever, because it would take a whole heck of a lot, I think, for any person to really go ask somebody for something. And for those that have perfected it, but it's God looking. So I don't think that, are we really supposed to discriminate if I'm going to give you this, that, or the other, because God provides for everybody.
Well, you know, but it's built around those that have a question. It's not built around those that don't. You do whatever you want to do with your money. But it's built around those that's running around feeling guilty. Well, you know,
He's gotta have.
I should have did more. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or did I do it in this service? It's built around those. Those that just want to give you money around is my back. Where you at so I go around? But stop and think about it. This is when it comes down. If you want to do it, knock yourself out. This is not for those that just giving it freely. This are
It's not even
the
a point of like freely, but I'm just saying, the majority.
Well, I'm saying without having to think about it and weigh it out and see who's who. It's that person he's not talking about. He's talking about the one that, whether you know it or not, and we ain't got that, I really don't want to go there, but he's talking about that Matthew 25 is what he's talking about. He's talking about that person. He's talking about the person that says, Lord, did I do these wonderful things?
Oh, that wants to be.
Yes, and that's what he's talking about.
What they do.
He's talking about that person whose wife has got a challenge in his life. That he's talking about that person that's looking for merit. Lord, I'm gonna give him, you see this now? I'm gonna give him 5. Lord, you see this now? You know you owe me.
Yeah, that I understand.
That's where he's at. He's talking about that. When you're giving because you're guilty, so you feel like if I don't give it, then God is going to strike me dead. Or God is going to get me because I didn't give it. He's trying to get you to understand. Give. But please understand. Please do it without grudgingly. If you're going to give it, then give it. But don't give it and start feeling guilty. Or don't give it and start feeling good. See, go both ways. And don't give it. Yeah, I gave some money. Yeah. Oh, all right. As if to say, check it out, God. Look what I did. God says you've already got your reward.
Give it from your heart. Keep it pushing.
That's right. Watch this. He's going to explain himself. Keep going. He says what? 43. This is the big one. Here she blows. 43 says what?
You have heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you.
What in the world? Talk to me, Glad. That's the big one.
That you may be sons of your Father in heaven. He causes his son to.
Where you at?
Oh, wait, I didn't jump
No,
back.
we're
Oh, 45.
We're supposed to be at 41.
Oh. Who said 43?
Yeah, she took off.
I took off.
So 43 says what? Okay. I'm gonna talk in the parking lot and let you later on. 43 said what? Go ahead.
You have heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell
That
you.
was a law. Pull your document. You see 43 on page 5. I got numbers now. 43 page 5. Switch. You'll have that. Yeah.
Rabbis and scribes had kept in part of God's truth about love. As already indicated, you shall love your neighbor is a clear teaching of the Old Testament. You shall not take vengeance, nor bear any grudge against the sons of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord.
Read 43 again and from the Bible.
You have heard that it was said.
So you did hear it. Go ahead. Because it was Bible. So you did hear it. Go ahead.
You have heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you.
Isn't that something? Let's look at this law. You shall not to take vengeance, nor bear any grudges against the sons of your people. But you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. What is wrong? According to the Bible, according to law, what is wrong with this versus what Jesus is talking about?
Goes against human nature.
Well, we know it goes against human nature. There's something that stands out in this. Look at your law again. Read your law. Your law said what? Love your neighbors. Come on.
Hate your enemy.
Love your what?
Neighbor.
You catch it? Read the whole law. I'm going to show you. Read it again.
You've heard that it was said you must love your neighbor
You've heard that it was said that you must love your neighbor.
and hate your enemy.
And what?
Hate your enemy.
Come on. Is that your, where I took you? Is that your, get back here. Is that your Leviticus? Is that your Leviticus 19, 18? You don't have to, you can read it. I've already read it. You got it, Tom?
Yeah.
Oh no, just read it from here. I got it on the paper.
Well, I passed on. I got it.
We'll get out of Revelation.
It said, you shall not take vengeance nor bear any grudges against your children of your people.
Against what? Hold on. Against what? The children of what?
Your people.
Your people. That's one. Hold on. Keep going.
But you shall love your neighbor
And you shall love your neighbors
as yourself.
as yourself. Did you catch it?
They twisted it.
Watch this. They got a twist, but did you catch it? Your Bible says, you was reading it, your Bible says in 43 says what?
You must love your neighbor.
You must love your neighbors
And hate your enemy.
and hate your enemies. Who's your enemy? Those that aren't your neighbor, right? But your Bible says you're to love your neighbors, come on, as yourself. What's going on? What is my neighbor? That's where he's at. What is your neighbor? Well, the law, your neighbor is what? Y'all neighbors.
Good Jews.
Y'all neighbors, right? Y'all neighbors. Hear me? Y'all neighbors. You neighbors, you hear me? You neighbors, you hear me?
Right.
You neighbors, you hear me? But Jim, you ain't their neighbor.
Outside.
Did you catch it? So what he's talking about is you have identified who isn't your neighbor. You took a law and you said twisted it. You took this law and you twisted it. You said that's okay. Well, Dwayne don't stay on the same block I stay on. You said that's okay. Because Cheryl, you don't live in the same city I live in. You said, so that's okay. So I can then hate my enemy. God is trying to tell you, everybody's neighbors. See what I'm saying? God is trying to tell them, but everybody's neighbors. Even Cheryl that lives with, she's still your neighbor. Love her. You decided to put perimeters. You came up with as far as, look, they're my neighbors as far as, this is as far as we go. We don't go no far. I don't know nobody on the next block. You've heard that. I don't know nobody on the next block. I got my neighbors that on the next block and the block over that know me. Did you hear me? That know me. He's one of the friendliest guys that's walking them two dogs, right? Walking them two dogs. Why? Because they're all my neighbors. Everybody's my neighbor. And if everybody's my neighbor, then I don't have enemies. See where he's going with this? He's working them. I told you, the Jews. He's working with them. You just said the Pharisees and the scribes, they read about it, right? These are the laws. And they're saying, you better follow those laws. We can't, because they twisted. That's why Jesus is telling them his law. What they're quoting is what Jesus wrote. He's the author and finisher, right? So what they're going to tell Jesus, no, that ain't what it meant. How you going to tell tell the author what he meant. You ever said, how do you correct the author? Let me tell you what you was trying to say. You tell me what I was trying to say when I wrote it. I tell you what I'm saying. I ain't trying to say nothing. If you had kept it just like it was, which you didn't, so I brought in, I showed you the last part of loving your neighbors, but I brought in the latter part of it. Stop hating your enemies. You came up with some enemies. And you shouldn't have come up with some enemies. They should have all been people you love. So watch this. Let's get on back. He says in 44, he says what?
But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be sons of your Father in heaven. He causes his sun to rise on the
I'm
evil
trying to look at that 44.
and the good. I read 44.
That's all you gonna read. That's all you gonna read. Y'all, I need you to go read this parking lot. Get out of here. Okay, now we got two people gonna read in the parking lot. Okay? So, Cynthia. 5:44.
She got happy.
I got excited about the Lord's word.
One excuse.
Stop yourself. Okay.
One excuse.
That's right.
One excuse the Jews may often have made to justify hatred of Gentiles was based on God's command for their forefathers to drive out the
Canaanites,
Canaanites,
Mennonites,
Ammonites,
Moabites, Amorites.
and other pagan peoples. They conquer and possess the promised land under Joshua.
Keep on,
But
but
those ancient inhabitants of Palestine were among the most vile, corrupt, and depraved known to history. They were unbelievably immoral, cruel, adulterous. Human sacrifice was common among them, and even one's own children were sometimes burned alive as an offering to their pagan deities. They were a cancer that had to be cut out in order to save God's people from utter moral and spiritual corruption.
but they're our neighbors. You gotta see it. But the Jews are saying, but they were our neighbors. What are you gonna do with the Canaanites? The Mennonites? The Moabites? What are you gonna do with them Amorites? They were our neighbors. And why then did you tell us to destroy them? Why then did you take the land from them? And this is why. Yes.
Great job, Cynthia. Great job. Oh, good.
You're gonna find out that he ain't out there. But anyway, look at this. So he mentions these names because that's what the Jews would fight him with. When he is trying to tell them to love their enemies. But watch this. These aren't your neighbors. Because they had something that they would do. It's called idolatry. And God's always got something against idolatry. Numbers 20 said, your first thought says, have no other gods before me. So, these that were removed had other gods before him. So, wipe them out. Those aren't your neighbors. They even sacrificed their own children. Wipe them out. God ain't never told you to kill your own children. Wipe them completely out because they're depraved. They're totally immoral people. Watch this. I want to work on, I love them so much I want to work on them. I just feel I can fix it. I just feel that if I work with them, they'll get better. Why do you think you can change somebody? Why do you think you can change somebody? I'll never forget this. I told my wife when she met me, I know what you were looking for. You were looking for a doctor, soft-spoken, nice, not loud. I said, I didn't meet none of the criteria. I says, and let me state this. And you can't change me. Did you hear me? And you can't change me. So it's best while the relationship is early. You better go. Because you can't change me. And then watch this. And I ain't gonna change for you. Somebody said that's hard. That's realistic. I've had too many people tell me, well, I'm just working with him because, I'm working, I'm gonna see if I can change him. No, God doesn't change you. Don't change. You don't think you can change him. You change you. You work on you. And when you start to work on you, you will start to see you can't change sin. You can't do nothing with it. God proved his point. Why don't you just come in, God, and do something beautiful for them so that the Canaanites, Amorites, Amorites, so that they could all live better? They ain't gonna change. That's a cancer. What I'll do is I'll put something over it and that'll take care of the cancer, right, Calvin? If I put something over it, that'll take care of the cancer. Cancer ain't got no name. Cancer says, I don't care what you put over. I'm going to keep growing until I kill that which I'm in. These people were the same way. So it cancels out their thinking about, you said that we are to love our neighbors. That he just removed that thought. Jesus is God. Jesus already knew their thoughts. That's why your 43 and 44 go together. He already knew their thoughts. He knew they was going to come up with this solution. Don't you hunt for a solution when you in sin? Don't you always try to figure out a way to get out of something when you in sin? Come on now. Don't look at me like you crazy, like I'm crazy, because I know I've done it. Hunt for a solution. Let's see, I got to fix this. You can't fix it. Cut it out. And let it go.
Called justification.
That's it. That's what it's called, Calvin. You're right. There is no justification. Let it go. I've said it too many times. It's cancer. All you're doing is pouring salt on a wound. It ain't gonna heal. But isn't salt a purification? Hello? Isn't that what it is? Isn't it a cleansing ingredient? Salt? Stop and think about it, isn't it? You pour some salt on the wound and talk to me. You talk to me. After you pour some salt on the wound, you wish you never put that salt on that wound. Okay? And by the way, after you get it out, it still won't go away, that pain. Did you hear me? Read some more. This is the last paragraph of 44. There's another one. Yes.
Okay. In placing what he said above what tradition said, he placed his word on the par with Scripture. As his hearers well understood, Jesus not only placed emphasis on what was said, but on who said it. It was not just that his teaching was the standard of truth, but that he himself was the standard of truth. Your great rabbis, scribes, and scholars have taught you to love only those of your own preference and to hate your enemies. Jesus was saying, but by my own authority, I declare that they are false teachers and have perverted God's revealed truth. The divine truth is my truth, which is that you shall love your enemies.
Lord have mercy. Keep going. And she gonna need help. Love him.
Loving enemies is not natural to men. It is sometimes difficult even for those who belong to God and have His love within them. The best way to have the right attitude, the agape love attitude, toward those who persecute us is to bring them before the Lord in prayer. We may sense their wickedness, their unfairness, their ungodliness, and their hatred of us. And in light of those things, we could not possibly love them for what they ask.
That was a guy, an apostle. That was an apostle that at first hated or at first laughed at Jesus. That was an apostle at first laughed at Jesus. And then after he found out who he was, they said, if you'd see him, he had calluses on his knees. Who was that apostle? Who was that apostle? Who?
That counts.
And he had calluses on his knees.
John.
What John?
James.
Who said it?
Oh, John.
James.
James. James was his brother. James was his brother. James laughed at him. James said, yo, right, you're supposed to be the son of God. Why don't you go into Jerusalem? Go into Jerusalem. You know, they gonna, when you go to Jerusalem, they gonna respect you. He was laughing at him. He was mocking him. And not only was James, but his other brothers were doing the same thing. This same James, when he finally realized that he was the Son of God, you couldn't, every time you see him, he was over too. He was on his knees. What are you saying? You can talk about me all day long. I don't have a problem, Teresa. Dwayne, I don't have a problem. She, I don't have a problem with you talking to me about me all day long, as long as you talk to me on your knees. Talk to me on your knees. Talk about me on your knees. Did you hear me? What are you talking about? It's a man that you can talk about a man and talk about how tore up his shoes are. Man, them somebody are ragged, his shoes. If I was you, I don't even know why you need to be shaming yourself as long as you got a new pair of shoes. Set them in for. Did you hear me? All of a sudden, the complaint becomes a compliment. What are you saying, Jesus? I'm saying this. There lies a problem. And the problem is, you have identified neighbors that you want to call neighbors enemies. And I'm trying to tell you to love them. I'm trying to tell you, pray for them. Get on your knees. I didn't say change them. We got a bad habit with that. Change them. No, pray for them. You don't have the ability to change the mind of someone. But you do have the ability to pray for someone.
Yeah.
You do have those abilities. Pray for someone. And if you believe miracles are dead, something's wrong with you. Because miracles are alive. They happen all the time. You pray for someone that you don't care for, keep praying for. And you don't even realize it. One day they walk up to you. One day they walk up to you. And you don't understand it. Ever wanted a job but you couldn't get it? And everywhere you went, it was staying hungry. And so you did what? You talked to God. Right? Because prayer is talking to God. And when you get into that place again with that interview, that's the worst interview you ever did. You had more us. You know how you, so tell me, what do you, why would you consider this job? You hear And you walked out, and when you walked out, you said, thank you. They almost like, but they said, yeah, thank you. And we'll contact you. We'll have HR, they will contact you. In probably about a week or so, they'll contact you. And you walk out, because you gotta walk over with your head up. Even though deep down, you really want to walk. But that phone rings. And that was a place that you just knew you wouldn't get work from. And that phone rings. And they say, hi, this is Mr. Thompson. And who am I talking to? Am I talking to Cynthia? And she said, yes. Cynthia, we looked at your resume and we're just wondering, when can you come in? Let me give you the hours, or did we give you our hours? Because what we're saying is, the job is yours. Welcome. And you're saying, but you're saying, thank you. And then you say, you go and start getting everything together, because they asked you to come in for the final interview today. Or they told you to come on Monday, and you get everything, because you want to get everything. What's wrong with the picture? You got it. You never bent. But you was bending all day long, and a lot of times we think we got to get on these, not get on these. Y'all have to help me up. But watch this. But watch this. But a lot of times you don't know it. You walk in and say, this is your father. You quit talking to him. Oh, dear Father. How about this day? Father, could you help me? That ain't how you talk to your daddy. You know you don't. You say, hey, Dad. Look at your dad. My son say, hey, Dad, I got no gas. I say, you got a job? But watch this. But watch this. But he gets it. But he gets it. What are you talking about? Because you ask. When everybody again, because you ask. And this is what Jesus is trying to get us to understand. If you just ask, all he's waiting for, he already knows what you need. That's my baby, he's just doing this. Huh? You got something to say, huh? You got something to say? All he wants you to do is ask.
Closed mouth don't get fed.
That's right. I like that. He just said ask. Jesus is bringing something to their attention. You love that, man. But watch this. One bigger than that. How did you develop an enemy? And you must. Did you cause this? Or are you calling them your enemy? How did you do this? Because they shouldn't be your enemy. Everybody in this church, we should love everyone. Hold on. That's why your Titus, the 2nd chapter, is written. Older men teach the younger men. Older women teach the younger women. Why? Because you've been there. You've done that. You have fallen into the pitfalls. You are alive. You got through them. You managed to get through them. You got a lesson. So don't you dare have your sister. Don't you dare have your brother. When you can see that life's pitfalls are right in front of them. When you can see the struggles that they're going through, don't have them go that same hole that you went through. You are Bring it to their attention. Help them. What are you talking about, Tom? Because you just got me everywhere. You made them your enemy. And don't even know it. What are you talking about? That young lady is your enemy. No, I love her. Love is not something said. Love is something shown. Stop hating. Stop building enemies, especially in the church. Stop building them. And start loving like you're supposed to. A church that begins to grow is a church that is found love. Stop and think about it. But I don't understand why it's small. I can tell you that she may not ever get big, God's church. We had a good talk this morning, didn't we, Calvin?
Amen.
Concerning that. Jesus made a statement with 2 or 3
Again.
are gathered in my name.
Yes.
He said, I'm in the midst. See, we want to say, well, you know, we don't have a lot of people. Like you are ashamed. When it should be, we have a lot of quality people that are here. We have loving people that are here. And I'm not worried about it because we say, well, then that will grow, that will build. It's supposed to. Love is supposed to. And if it's not doing that, then maybe your love is counterfeit. Maybe it's not real. Maybe it's something you keep saying, my famous words. Everybody calls themselves a Christian. Everybody calls themselves a Christian. But not everybody is Christ-like. Big difference. Big difference. Are there any statements that need to be made, guys?